Welcome into Kitchen Talk Pickleball Edition. I'm your host, Caitlin Miller, and this week joining us is Chung Kim. This is crazy. He's attempting to set the Guinness World Record of 36 hours of pickleball. Welcome to the podcast. I can't wait to hear about this story.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you having me on here, Caitlin.
Yeah, so 36 hours of pickleball. One, how long has the longest time you've played pickleball on a court for been?
Well, I think consistently straight, I've played 6 hours straight, and even that was hard. But that was just like normal play. Like, you get a break here and there every once in a while. Whereas this Guinness World Record that we're attempting, there's a lot of guidelines and restrictions on when you can or can't take your breaks.
Wow. Okay. So tell me, I have to know, how did you even get involved or get the desire to break this world record?
So I found out about it for the very first time in Missoula, Montana. I was up in Missoula, Montana playing pickleball. And one of the girls that I was playing with, she actually told me, you know that I'm a Guinness World Record holder in pickleball. And I was like, I didn't even know that existed, right? Pickleball, there's a Guinness World Record for it? She goes, yeah. And she said it's for the longest marathon playing pickleball. And they were the first ones to set the record in Missoula, Montana. And they did it for a little bit over 24 hours and submitted, their entry into the Guinness World Records, and they approved it. So they were the record holders. And I'm one of those guys, though, that when someone tells me they've done something, I'm like, ooh, I can break that. And I said it to myself right away. I was like, I'm going to break that record. And we talked a little bit more after we had finished playing our matches. And she told me, she goes, well, I hate to break the bad news to you, but she goes, I think someone else has already broken the record. And so I went online, I looked it up, I went on, Guinness, and she was right. So 4 guys over in Great Britain, with the help of the government and funding from them, they actually broke the record. And the new record currently is 34 hours and 5 minutes.
Okay.
And so,
wow.
When I got back home to Texas, I was like, I can still do this. We can still beat this record. And a couple of things went through my head. First of all, listen, pickleball was invented and created here in the United States, right? I'm like, that record can't be held over in Great Britain. I'm sorry. Nothing against them. But I was like, we have to bring that pickleball record back to the United States, first of all. And so that inspired me. And then I knew I had met several other people during my, pickleball travels that were good candidates to do this record with me, because it has to be, 4 players. So it's meant for doubles. And so I had 3 other people in mind, and so that's kind of where it all started. And now here we are, less than 2 weeks away. We're about to try to set this record.
I know, that is crazy. So, I'm sure people want to know, how often are you allowed to take a break for water, the bathroom, etc.?
Sure. So there's so many guidelines and rules that if you miss even one little skip it of the rule, it's done, it's over. You might as well just stop. So I've had to read through 7 or 8 pages of different rules and guidelines. For every hour you have to play nonstop, you get a 5-minute break after that.
Oh my gosh.
And then you can add up those breaks. So, just to give you an example, if we play for 3 hours straight, we get a 15-minute break. And so we have it scheduled out, I think we have it scheduled out. No one's ever done this before in our area, so I think we have it scheduled out where at the beginning we're going to probably play for longer periods of time and then take those longer breaks, and then maybe towards the end probably do 1 or 2 hour shifts and then take shorter breaks, just so it's not so hard on our bodies.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's crazy. And this is, all for a good cause, right? This is going to benefit Taylor's Gift Foundation.
Yes, that is correct. And so once we decided to do this, several people got involved. Once they found out we were trying to set this Guinness World Record, and obviously if we're going to do this live stream for 36 hours, why not get a nonprofit charitable foundation involved that we can hopefully help benefit from this. And so, yes, Taylor's Gift Foundation is our nonprofit charitable organization that's going to be involved in this. And we're just going to ask people as they're watching live streamed if they would just make a donation of $36 for our 36 hours that we're going to play. And hopefully we'll get a lot of people, live streaming it and watching.
That's amazing. And I was reading a little bit. It provides organ and tissue donor families, that have dealt with grief and losing a loved one, support services, right, to kind of overcome that grief.
Yeah, that's exactly what it does. So the main founder, Todd Storch, he's directly involved with our Guinness World Record now. He's been so much help. But it was his daughter who actually, went through this, tragic event where she was in a skiing accident. And, she was an organ donor and they didn't have that grief support, for their family when all this was happening. And so he decided to start a foundation to help other families. And that's exactly what they do. And it's more, I guess you don't know until you go through it, but it's more of that, mental health awareness that we talk about. Is these families need this mental health support as they're going through, their family members, who have just passed and, are passing along to help save other lives, their organs. And so, Todd decided, yes, we need some place or somewhere where people can go to for this grief support, because without it, they struggled for a long time. And so I think it's for a fantastic cause.
I love that. And I love that you guys are not just doing this, to set a world record, which in and of itself is an incredible accomplishment, but to give back. And I think, we were just talking about like that really is what the pickleball community is all about. And so, it'll be nice. I know you're doing it, the Pickler Universe in Texas. You're live streaming it, but people can also show up to support you, which I'm sure you're going to need a lot of support to get through the 36 hours. So tell me a little bit about like the atmosphere you guys are trying to create and what you're doing with that in the live stream.
Yeah. So, we're very fortunate that during the the daytime hours, basically like 8 a.m. all the way until 8 p.m. There's another pickleball tournament that's happening at that exact same time. So it's called the Crazy Ape Tournament, and that's being hosted by Robbie Robertson. And so he was, nice enough to have a tournament at the same time that we're trying to, set our Guinness World Record. So that environment will be fantastic because there'll be a lot of players around. So that'll be good. It'll be really lively, a lot of music, a lot of stuff going on. But the parts that we're going to probably struggle with are the overnight hours, right? Like 8 p.m. until 8 a.m. the following morning, when it's probably going to be a little quiet in there. So, a couple of things you guys can do to help support us is, well, while it's being live streamed, absolutely comment, because we'd love to hear your comments, while we're playing, because that'll keep us motivated and going. Make those donations for us, because every time a donation is made, we'll be notified. And so that'll keep us motivated. And then last thing, listen, I know it's kind of a hard ask, but come out to the Pickler Universe. We're going to have the doors wide open for you guys. Come out to Carrollton, Texas. Come out and watch us in person. We'll have viewing areas where you guys can come just sit there and watch us and cheer us on. And there'll probably be several open courts where you guys can come out and play pickleball in the middle of the night. So if you've ever had a desire to do that, yeah, come on out.
I mean, it's hard enough to even just stay awake for 36 hours. I've never even done that, let alone stand on a court and play pickleball. I mean, that is crazy, but good for you. And I'm sure you're going to have to prep a lot for it, right? With just nutrition and hydrating. And I don't know if you're going to have an IV on staff, there. I don't know what you guys are planning, but I'm sure there's a lot of thought going into it.
There is. We've planned this out since December. So it's been 4 or 5 months in the making. And I mean, just like you mentioned, we do have several companies coming out to help us out. We have, a wellness therapist. We have a stretch therapist. We have massage and physical therapists that are going to be standing by to help us out if we cramp up or have, body issues. And then, like you mentioned, there's another company called The Drip, which is a mobile IV company who are going to come and give us probably IVs like 24 hours into it so that we can stay hydrated enough to finish, this goal of ours.
Yes, yes, which is so amazing. And I know, kind of taking a step back and going, into your whole pickleball journey, this, stems a lot deeper. You said that you've obviously been playing pickleball for a while, and sadly, someone in your pickleball community took their own life, and you guys rallied around each other. It was just such a great support system, which then motivated you to travel to all 50 states to play pickleball and to immerse yourself in these communities. And I just, I heard that. I love having people on this podcast because it really inspires me. But if you could tell us a little bit, I just summed it up very quickly, but about that background and about that story of yours.
Sure. So, unfortunately, it was tragic. A friend of ours that we played pickleball with, he ended up taking his own life, unfortunately. And it struck our community really hard. I mean, a lot of us were in shock for a long time. And unfortunately, because there's somewhat of a stigma attached to it, many people were very open to talking about it or discussing it. And and everyone else here knows, the pickleball community it's more than just a community. It's more like a family because, I mean, I think I spend more time with my pickleball guys than I do with my real family, unfortunately, because you just become a family within itself. And so we did end up having a memorial for him. And I was telling you this earlier that during his memorial, I was standing there watching a video slide. And the person standing next to me who I'd never met before, I just asked him, I was like, well, how did you know this individual? And he said, well, I didn't know him. He goes, but my friend who's standing over there, she goes, she knew him, and I'm here to support her. And then, like we talked about earlier, I was like, a light bulb went off in my head. I was like, oh my gosh, it's like, this is so much more than just hitting a plastic wiffle ball over a net, right? I was like, this is so much more. This is about a community and a family and about sharing and giving back to each other. And I was like, I've never experienced this in any other sport that I've played. And I've played so many sports in my entire life. And I was like, this is incredible. And, I went back home and like we talked about, I told my wife, I said, hey, I think I'm going to go to all 50 states to play pickleball and see if this is just like a phenomenon where it only happened here or if this kind of family and community is everywhere within the nation. And, she kind of looked at me like I was crazy, to be honest with you. But she also knows that when I put my mind to something that I'm just going to go ahead and do it. So she supported
Same.
me.
Same.
So she was like, all right, so I know you're going to, she was like basically telling me, I know you're going to do it anyway, so I'll support you. And let's just go ahead and start setting out your itinerary and schedule. And not even a week later, I had bought a plane ticket to fly to Alaska. And I went to Alaska in Anchorage and I played. And I was there literally just 2 days, played pickleball, came back to Texas, and drove all lower 48, going from one community after another, playing pickleball, and talking to all these community of players about the experience that I went through to see if it was similar to what they had here. And, and then obviously we wanted to talk to them about mental health awareness because we wanted them to be consciously aware that, hey, it's okay to talk to people if you're not feeling great, because this is your family here. You got to be able to talk to these people about it. And so that journey ended up taking me to all 50 states, and it was really amazing. I mean, for me personally, it helped me with the grief that I was going through, when this happened, and it helped me realize that the pickleball communities, it just is. It's special. It's something different.
It is. And when you went to all 50 states, did you do like 10 states at a time, come back home, or did you do it all at once? Like, what was your
So,
plan of action?
well, that was even crazier. So I did all 50 states in less than 44 days.
Oh my goodness.
So, and the
And you
only two
drove the whole
places
thing? Did you,
I,
or,
I drove the whole entire lower 48. I only flew to Alaska and Hawaii,
okay.
but the lower 48, I actually drove in my Tesla Cybertruck because I had just gotten that a couple of months before. And even that was a whole kind of crazy thing because everyone told me, they're like, you're crazy. You're not going to be able to drive that across the nation. They're like, there's not enough charging stations.
Oh,
But
yes.
yeah, but I'm one of those guys where I'm just like, no, I'm going to do it. And I did. I drove that Cybertruck to all lower 48 and, it made it. I got to every place that I needed to. There were plenty of charging stations. And so, that was another thing that was attached to this 50 states. It's like, just to prove that you can drive an electric vehicle all across the United States.
Yeah, that's amazing too. Oh my gosh. Out of curiosity, I mean, traveling to all these states and meeting all these communities, was there a big difference going state to state or even coast to coast, would you say, within the pickleball communities?
You know, um, Not a big difference. Everything was exactly like I had imagined. Um, I could walk into a random indoor facility where I knew nobody, and they would immediately open up their arms and say, even if there were four people playing, they would open up their arms and say, "Come play with us. Like, I'll sit out. You come play with us." And it happened everywhere I went. Um, I'll give you a really good example. When I was in Brooklyn, New York, I was underneath the Brooklyn Bridge, and
Yeah.
there was a community of players playing under there, and they actually had like a local tournament going on. And I walked up and I said, "Hey, I'm just trying to get a game of pickleball in because I just have to play in every state." And they literally at that moment in time, they're like, "Well, play in our tournament. You're going to play with so and so person, and you're going to play in our tournament with us right now." And I was like,
Wow.
"Yeah, I go awesome." So I ended up playing in a tournament with a local group there in Brooklyn, and we still stay in touch, and they're like great friends of mine now. And I'm like, but it happened everywhere I went, and so it just proved to me that this sport is just it's unreal. It's unreal. Like it won't. This wouldn't happen with me if I was like a soccer player or basketball player. It's just not the same. It just isn't.
No. No, that's amazing. And did you document it? Did you take like a photo with each group you played
Yeah.
with or yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I videoed every place that I went to.
Good.
I documented the whole journey, and I've got it all on my Instagram. And so, and people were just following me from state to state because they were like, "What is this crazy guy doing? Going from
I'm
every state to
sure,
go play
yeah.
pickleball?" So that was an awesome journey. Great for my mental state, because it absolutely helped me clear my head. And then now here we are working on journey number two, which is,
I was
the
just gonna
Guinness
say
World
this
Record.
might be like the second record you're breaking because I don't know of anyone that's played pickleball in all 50 states in 44 days. So,
Don't think
um,
so either.
I mean, that's like amazing. What would you say? What was your biggest, just that experience, obviously once in a lifetime? No one, I mean, if anyone could say they could do it, I'd be maybe one or two other people. But I mean, what is your biggest takeaway? What did you learn just seeing the world or the country from that perspective?
Um, First thing I would tell you is that people are good by nature. It's and pickleball brings that out, brings that goodness out in people. I mean, playing with people who are like little guys who are like 8 and 9, all the way up to 79, 89 years old. I met all facets, right? Didn't matter your size, gender, age, none of that mattered. Um, when you get out on the pickleball court, all those barriers are gone, right? No one cares. You're just out there, have a good time, have fun with each other, enjoy each other's time and company, and this just wouldn't happen any other way. And so, I mean, in a way, it really is bringing the nation back together, which I think that needs to happen. just being able to play with so many different types of people and different personalities. And on the pickleball court, no one cares. They just
Right.
don't.
And that's why I think it's interesting that this sport exploded, during COVID and post pandemic. It was during a time where people really needed other people and relationships. And I think that's what makes it so special is obviously that's what the sport is, its basis is, its foundation. But like, it's also just interesting that it started and during a time where people really needed that and were seeking those friendships and support both on and off the court. So, it's amazing to hear what you're doing and what so many other people are doing. And just the fact that it really does give people, a second chance at something or an escape from something. And I'm sure you've seen that as you've traveled all across the country.
Oh, 100%. And so many, organizations, companies, groups have all been so giving towards our attempt and what we're trying to do. I'll give you a really good example. I started off this journey not knowing anything about pickleball or anybody really, no major players in pickleball, right? And when I started this journey to go to my 50 states, I had reached out to one or two like major brands and asked them, hey, I told them, I was like, I'm going to go to all 50 states. Would you mind possibly, if you're interested, just talking about it or maybe even, partnering with me so I can go to all 50 states. And I sent out several emails and, a lot of people responded back, but, Gearbox Sports, which I just happened to be playing with their paddle, right? With their Gearbox paddle, they came back immediately and sent me this huge box full of their equipment and their bags and shirts and all this other stuff. And I was like, what the heck just happened here? I was like, they just sent me all this and they hadn't talked to me one time. They just sent me this huge package and said, hey, take this with you. Good luck. Hope you make the 50 states. And, I remember talking to them about a week into my trip because they had been following my journey and Brandon reached out to me and said, hey, he goes, I can't believe you're doing this. You're crazy. Like you're actually doing what you said you're going to do. You're going to all 50 states. And, he said, we get hundreds of emails from people like you every day asking for partnership or support. And he goes, we just randomly picked your email and said, hey, let's help this guy out. And
Wow.
it's been like that, with Gearbox and other companies this whole entire time and this whole entire journey that it's just that pickleball community once again, so giving and so supporting. I just love every minute of what I'm doing and I enjoy working with all these groups. And so, it's been a blessing.
And I'm sure now Gearbox is excited to hear about your world record attempt too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now there's, now I have, and I haven't talked to you guys about this yet, but I have obviously three other teammates that are doing this with me. I'm not the only crazy person. There's three
Yeah.
others that are willing to do this. And, interestingly enough, I met them as I was traveling to the 50 states. And
Oh,
so, one's from North Dakota. Her name is Laura, and she is former cross country skier from Estonia. And, doing her clinicals and nursing, and making time to train so that she can be ready for this event. And then, the other two teammates that I have, one is from South Dakota. Her name is Geneva, and she's, a mother and pickleball player, manages and helps run a pickleball indoor facility and passionate about the sport. And, she has she's very special to me. She has a direct link to kind of the same experience that I went through. Unfortunately, her father and her only sibling brother ended up taking their own lives. And so, after her and I got to talking for a while, we realized that we had a direct link to each other somehow. And once again, it's kind of one of those things where fate brought us together. And she
yeah.
was like, oh, I'm in 100%. She goes, yeah, let's make this journey happen. And I want to be a part of this, world record and more for than just herself. Right. And so I thought that part was really special. And then,
That's
uh,
and then your fourth teammate or
my
third, I
fourth
guess.
teammate, yeah, my third, the last the last one that's crazy enough to do this, his name is Jarrett Petrus, and he actually lives in South Carolina. And I met him all the way over there. And just same thing with him, just randomly, I met him at a park, an outdoor park. I wasn't scheduled to be there. I was just like, hey, I'm just going to stop here to see if there's someone there playing pickleball. And he happened to be the only person there on the court at the time. And we ended up playing singles together. Come to find out, after he had whooped me, 11-0, like 3 times in a row, I was like, what? I was like, what is this? I was like, where'd you come from? Well, he ends up being like a national champion from the Czech Republic in men's doubles and singles. And so this phenomenal player. And so obviously we got to talking and chatting and stuff. And I was like, you're a perfect candidate for what I want to do. And so when I got back home to Texas, I called up all 3 of these people. They were the first 3 I thought of. And they all said yes.
How crazy. That actually is crazy.
I couldn't believe it, but they all said yes on the first time. And I was like, wow.
Wow, that is amazing. And so, yes, the attempt to play pickleball for 36 hours just before we go, let everyone know, how can they follow this crazy journey?
So it's really easy. Go to taylorsgift.org/pickleball. There's a direct link that's going to be live streamed on there on YouTube, but you have to go to taylorsgift.org first, and then make that donation for us. That's all that we're asking you guys to do. We're going to do our 36 hours. We're just going to ask you guys to do that $36 for us. Just $1 an hour if you look at it that way, right? So please help us out with that part. All the funds are going to go directly to taylorsgift.org. And so please tune in and watch. We'd love to see you guys, and comment on that YouTube channel, because we'd love to hear those comments. As we're struggling through those late night hours, any kind of comment would help us out.
That's awesome. Well, CK, I can't wait to root you on, your 3 other teammates on, and hopefully you guys will officially beat the world record and play for 36 hours of pickleball. CK, thank you so much for joining us, and stay tuned to see who will join us in the kitchen next time.